When it comes to creating a YouTube channel, we keep hearing about gear first. However, there are some essential things that need to happen before we can actually start shooting and creating content. And that's what this series right here is going to cover. Now, on the last video, we talked about 3 types of YouTube channels and 3 keys that you need in order to grow your channel. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, man, I just want you to get to the yams. And we are gonna get to the yams, I promise you. But first, we have to lay the foundation. Foundation needs to be laid in a certain way so that it makes sense. So if you haven't seen the last video, I encourage you to go back to the last video, watch that video first, then watch this video. That way, when we're laying the foundation in order and it makes sense. Now, after you follow the steps in the first video, now it's time to look inward. Wait a minute, that didn't sound. It's time to look inside. You know what I'm talking about. Now, at this point, you might just be thinking, man, can you just get to the point so I can grow my YouTube channel? There are 3 keys, yes, more keys that I found that will help you grow your channel. And I can guarantee you, if you don't do these things, 100% your channel will not grow. I guarantee that, trust me. Now, the first key is confidence. Now, I personally define confidence within this context as the ability to appear on camera without the burden of worrying what people may think or say. Now, we live in a culture where looking good and looking like we have everything all together is the norm. Now, when you factor in social media, this takes this to a whole nother level. Now, there are many reasons why this may be, but one of the main reasons is because with social media, we can hide the details of our lives so that no other person can see it. I can come on here and tell you guys things, but you may not know what's going on my personal life if I don't show it to you. In order to be successful on YouTube, you must have confidence, but I'm not talking about arrogance or cockiness. I'm talking about truly knowing your worth and understanding it enough so that you can hone in on the value that you bring to others. Now, the emphasis is on the phrase bringing value to others. If you start YouTube with a mindset of getting rich or being famous so that a lot of people know you, then what you're going to do is cut corners in order to reach that goal of simply being famous. And you're not going to be thinking about other people in the process. And when you do that, you're going to end up with a channel that just caters to you and not other people. Now, this can come out in many ways. Maybe you're just selling things to people or pushing things on people that you wouldn't use yourself or you don't use yourself and that sort of thing. So you really don't want to get caught up into that because there is a great community here on YouTube that you can be a part of when you actually pour into other people and when you actually put your best foot forward in helping others. That's what really makes this YouTube for me worth it. I love the comments. I love meeting new people and conversing with people who I would have never met otherwise. And it's fun to reach out to people who do other things like that are not camera related and still be able to build relationships with those people. So that is something that you will miss out on if you go into this with just you in mind. Now, the goal isn't to start YouTube being 100% confident in yourself because this sort of thing takes time to build up. You're not going to just turn on the camera and be super confident. So it's okay if you have a little bit of apprehension there. But what I'm talking about is the ability to just turn the camera on and not really care what others think, because you do need room to grow and that will happen. And over time, your confidence will grow as you keep at it, which brings me to point 2, which is your presentation. Now, the way I define presentation is your ability to introduce and convey information in a way that captures people's attention naturally. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever looked at a channel that had like maybe 1 million followers and you thought, what are they doing to be able to get this many followers and to get this big on YouTube? And you start looking at their gear, you start looking at their lighting, their editing styles, and you start looking at all these things to try and figure out what it is that they have that allows them to amass such a following. Now, I will be honest, there were times in the past where I boiled that down to, well, maybe it's his lighting, maybe it's his audio, maybe his editing or his B-roll is so engaging that it makes people want to subscribe. But I don't think that's the case. As a matter of fact, I know that's not the case. The key here is the presentation. Now, the reality is that presentation is a far greater and more effective tool than just gear by itself when you're talking about growing a YouTube channel. But we often overlook that because we get caught up in the lights, the microphones, the cameras, the camera angles, the editing, the music, or whatever it may be. But the presentation is really the core of the video. Being able to present information, tell a story, make people laugh, all require a certain amount of self-awareness. Now, don't let this discourage you. If you run across people who are naturally gifted at presentation and they can speak eloquently, tell these stories, and make things come to life with words. If you can't do that, don't feel discouraged because this is a skill that you can build. If you don't have it, you can put together the pieces that allow you to have this. It just takes time and practice, just like anything else. I started this YouTube channel about a year ago, and I've seen a huge difference in my ability to present. The information was always there as far as the gear. I knew about ISO, aperture, shutter speed, and I know what I'm talking about, but presenting that information, I didn't have that part down. So that took some time, and I'm still getting better and better with each video. And that's what I encourage you to do, is to continue to work on it, and you have to post videos in order to get better. Now, the key to presenting well is being authentic. Being authentic means that you are being who you were created and designed to be, being yourself. When you start to try to be like someone else, then you're not going to be able to present like them because you're not them. You're going to present best the way you were created and designed. You just have to hone that skill. So again, I encourage you to dig deep and embrace who you are because you are unique. Now, unique isn't something you have to try to be. It's who you already are. So just be yourself in front of the camera, and as you do it more and more, you will get the presentation side of it down. But you also want who you are in that presentation as well. This is where your personality comes in. And whether you think it's interesting or not, this is the time to embrace who you are so that you can be successful on your YouTube channel. And I guarantee you, if you do those things, you will have a successful channel. The third and last key is execution. Now, I define execution as a measurement of the entire package that you present to your audience. Now, as we said before, the more you post, you're going to get better and better. And with getting better, you become more effective in what you do. Now, effectiveness ranges over everything from your thumbnails to your titles, to the videos themselves, to your edits, to how you convey information. And just like anything, the more you do it, the better you will get. Now, one of the things I will say, if you're just starting out a new channel, is a lot of people like to make intros. Now, intros are cool and they look cool to us, but they're not the most effective tool in being effective. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I'm gonna show you an example right here. People of YouTube,
I welcome you
to the Purpose Lens Photo and Media YouTube channel. If this is your first time joining, thank you for being here, number one. And go ahead and subscribe, like, share, you know the routine. You hear this on every single channel that you watch. But the reason I'm telling you to do it is because it actually is free. It doesn't cost you anything, and it will allow you to know when I upload videos so that you don't have to go searching for them. So it makes it easier for you. So to continue on, this is part 2 of a video I'm doing in a series called Can You Shoot a Wedding Solo? Yes, that's the question. And my answer to that question is yes, I do believe you can do it. I realize I just said yes twice, but that just means I'm confirming that you can shoot a wedding video by yourself. But that's a big but. Not the kind you're thinking, but there's a big but. And I'm gonna go over some things that you may want to know and ways that will help you when you go about shooting your first wedding video. So stay tuned, we're gonna get into it. See you in a second. So the question has been answered. Yes, you can. When it comes to creating a YouTube channel, we keep hearing about gear first. However, there are some essential things that need to happen before we can actually start shooting and creating content. And that's what this series right here is going to cover. Now, on the last video, we talked about 3 types of YouTube channels and 3 keys that you need in order to grow your channel. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, man, I just want you to get to the yams. And we are gonna get to the yams, I promise you. But first, we have to lay the foundation. Now, when you look at these 2 videos side by side here, you could see that you probably would lean towards one over the other. And this is because one gets right to the point and one doesn't get right to the point. Now, I want to talk about YouTube analytics briefly here because I think it is an important part of the video here. When we talk about effectiveness, it is key to understand analytics. Now, analytics are measurements or metrics, and these metrics tell you what your video is doing, how your channel is doing, and ultimately how you are doing on YouTube. So you can look at things like your view count, your subscriber count, your retention, which is how long people are actually watching your video. It can even tell you what times people are watching your videos, whether it's 2 a.m. in the morning or 9 o'clock at night. Now, understanding this information is key to being effective on YouTube. Now, again, in order to be effective, you have to have an open mind. You can't think that you have it all together, but you have to know that there's always room for growth and there's always room for improvement. If you approach your videos this way, I guarantee you will grow faster than if you don't think this way. Now, sometimes criticism or feedback can be difficult to handle, but it is necessary for us to grow. One of the things that you will also experience when you start your YouTube channel that you shouldn't be afraid of, by the way, is the comment section. The comment section is going to be filled with all kinds of people. They're going to be nice people. They're going to be people who will want to encourage you, people who support you, people who want to see the best, people who have questions, people who have criticisms, people who are racist that don't like you, and all kinds of people, just like in the regular world. Except on YouTube, sometimes it's a bit more because, again, people can hide behind things. But when we're talking about effectiveness, taking all of this into account and having the mindset that you don't necessarily care what people think about you, but you do care that the information that you give out is accurate, that is beneficial, and that it helps someone else. If you keep that mindset, then you'll be able to be effective on YouTube. Now, this thing of effectiveness can go really, really deep. And honestly, I could make probably 10 more videos on effectiveness. But what I will say is this in closing: get to know your analytics. Know how to read your analytics once you get to that point. The other thing is don't obsess over your analytics as well. A lot of people think about subscribers first, and they measure themselves by how many subscribers you have. And I'm gonna tell you that that's not the way to do it. Neither are the amount of views that you're getting as well. None of these are things you should look at to measure if you are good enough or not. You use these things to get better and to critique your effectiveness. The more effective you are, the greater your channel will grow. I hope this video has been beneficial to you. If not, I apologize. Hopefully some other videos on this channel can be helpful to you. But if you like this video, hit the like button. I'm not asking you to subscribe. Leave a comment below and tell me what you think, and tell me maybe some other things you want to see. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot more videos that are going to come out in this series. So you guys let me know if this was effective. But until next time, I'll holler at y'all later. I'm out. Peace.